There's a consistent delivery of nicotine to the user, whether you use a coil, the same coil for 60 puffs like we did, or if you use a new coil every interval. So it was a really good study. Actually showed that we used a sub tank, we used a Nautilus, we used variable voltage devices, and it actually showed that the consistency was even better or on par or better than a medical nebulizer. So that's how it all kind of started. And then, for people that have been following me for a long time and on my podcast, I've been saying we are fucked, part of my language, but I've been saying that for a very long time. I've been saying it for the past couple of years. So we anticipated this FDA deeming rule, to be honest with you. It's something that we knew was going to come. Obviously we didn't think that it was to be the worst case scenario, but you had to expect the worst case scenario. And I'll explain to you why, if you want. I know this is kind of sidetracking from Sevilla, but people got to understand that the FDA, they don't want to regulate 18,000 products. They don't want to regulate 6,000 manufacturers. It's impossible. It's logistically, now could they develop? Yeah, they could have developed something, but the way that the agency sits down under the CTP, under the Center for Tobacco Products, it's virtually impossible. So the only way that they can really regulate vapor product is to eliminate 99% of the vendors,
Right.
and leave a very small percentage that they can work with on some regulations. And unfortunately, that's the big tobacco companies, and they already have them in their pocket since 2009. So it makes sense for them to do that. So this worst case scenario was anticipated, and in fact, in January of this year, when me and Phil visited it was my third trip and Phil's second trip to China, we invited the Sevilla China to the conference. They invited about 100 manufacturers at the place where we had the conference, and I made a presentation on what possibly could come with a deeming rule based on the leaked draft document and based on PMTA information that we had at the time, which unfortunately, it was funny because I was talking to a lot of the Chinese manufacturers today. Everything that I presented in China was actually what's in the deeming regulations.
Yeah. Is virtually unchanged.
Right. It's virtually unchanged, except for the flavors. And even the flavors, I was at the TMA a couple of days ago where Mitch Zeller spoke. Even the flavors, he kind of hinted that he did us a favor to leave the flavors inside. But if you read the deeming regulations, and I highly suggest if you're in this industry to read them, and don't listen to rumors and don't listen to, I heard that you can get by with this. Please read it.
Right.
And have attorney, have some legal representation. So inside the deeming rule, the flavors could be, based on the applications that they're going to get, they might be denied, which is a huge problem for a lot of the small manufacturers. Even if you're able to afford a couple of PMTAs, there's no guarantee it's going to be approved. All right. So back to the Chinese manufacturers. So we're in China in January. I made a good presentation basically on what would happen if the worst case scenario would happen, that PMTA would be needed to file their products. And it was funny because I ended that conference with, I remember vividly the words, if you don't want to be making vacuum cleaner parts next year, I highly suggest that you get involved in the advocacy in the U.S. And I'm proud to say that this is the first time that something like that has happened. And obviously, me and Phil were pretty influential on that. Phil had a lot to do with it. Even though Phil's not a very political guy, he's definitely influential in this industry. A lot of people look up to him. Yeah. So we were able to get their approval to launch Sevilla USA, which is basically a nonprofit trade association here that represents right now the big four: Kanger, Inniken, Aspire, and Smoke. I highly suggest if you're a distributor or if you're a vape shop owner, to send them a thank you note. And I also highly suggest that if you're a distributor in a vape shop or even a vapor, send the other companies that have not joined a note, letting them know that you're disappointed. And listen, if you guys don't shop with your dollars and vote with your dollars, these companies are not going to change, right? If we keep giving our money to China, if we don't expect to get something back, we've approached Joytech multiple times and other companies. And at this point, I don't go out there and ask. I want them to come because we're doing a lot of good things. But just today, I had Sense, which makes the Heracles tank approach me and ask me about joining Sevilla, which is good. That's a good effect. But until we actually see them doing, because a lot of the Chinese, they'll be like, oh, yeah, we'll do it. But unless we actually see them movement, I won't make the announcement. So Sevilla USA was born. It's actually taken me a while because if you want to do everything proper and legal, We filed the nonprofit here in DC, but based on law, I had to go through what's called the FORI Act, which is like a foreign interests. Basically, I had to go clear the Department of Justice for the Homeland Security, and this was a law that was implemented back in 1937. That when the war was going on, and there was some Germany money coming over here, and they wanted to make sure that it's not going for a coup or for espionage or something like that. So it actually dragged out longer than I expected, and I couldn't really make any financial commitments to anybody until we cleared that.
Right.
And basically, it's a way of us looking at the direction of the industry and seeing, because the Chinese are not aware of how the system works. So if you have Chinese manufacturers just giving money to associations or whatever, they don't know where this money is going. So my job was by these manufacturers to alert them where we need help and spend their money wisely where they're going to see a return on it. So that we're going to concentrate our efforts on associations or movements that we believe need financial assistance. And obviously to trigger their social media to get the vapors involved, because their social media is huge and they have a huge following. So that's basically how Sevia USA was born. I chair it, and Phil obviously is the assistant chair on it. Even though Phil doesn't get involved that much political, his draw and his reach is extremely important to let people know what we're doing with Sevia USA. And tomorrow there'll be obviously an announcement based on some of the information that we got this past week. And I take a different stance when these FDA regulations come up. If you look at my stream, if you look at my Facebook, my social media, I didn't make any posts or anything, because you really have to digest what's going on. And it took me, a week to talk to the attorneys, to talk to other smarter, brighter people than me that I consult with and that I look up to. And obviously after going to the TMA and seeing Mitch Zeller speak, and then, the various networking panels that were there, the Tobacco Merchants Association is a huge conference every year. This was the 101st year. And even though it says tobacco, there's really no big tobacco companies that are attached. It's all small companies, a lot of vapor. So the TMA, which is actually a Tobacco Merchants Conference, 95% of the presentations were vapor. So it's pretty funny how things have shifted in the last. And I've been there the last 3 years. So after I got with them and talked to the attorney and talked to Azim from Keller and Heckman, we've developed a strategy, and this is the strategy that Sevia USA will participate in. And we want the entire industry to participate on it. We don't want just Sevia. We want a lot of companies to participate in the lawsuit. There will be a lawsuit filed by Right to Be Smoke Free, which is kind of leading this, along with AIMSA, along with other manufacturers. We're trying to get a couple of the national consumer advocacy groups on board to support us. And really, we want to show unity. We want to show that this is the industry that's going to be decimated by the proposed FDA regulations. Now, litigation is really difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to sue and everything's going to be okay, simply because the FDA has done a great job patching up the different doors that we're going after. And there's a lot of stuff to go after, right? I mean, there's a lot of legal challenges there. Even challenging the Tobacco Control Act, that was not its intent. Its intent is not to regulate a life-saving product. It's supposed to regulate the products that cause harm. And based on all of our information and all the studies that we have had, we have seen that this product is by far magnitudes less harmful than cigarettes. So seeing the FDA regulations and understanding what they are is a huge task, but I think that there is something that could be challenged within them. And we've got to try at the end of the day. Keep in mind that NicoPure filed the first lawsuit. Obviously they wanted to kind of, blow their load first. It was more of a marketing thing than anything else. It was a 15-page lawsuit that I'm sure will be amended a million times from now until in the next couple of months. But, I don't blame them. Why not? They have the power. They have a great attorney. Their legal counsel is Patricia Kovacevic, which used to work for RJR. And she's a brilliant mind. She's a very, very smart litigator. And I'm sure you're going to see Teveka. You're going to see other companies file lawsuits. There'll be multiple lawsuits. And we need to do one for our industry as well, too. And we need to have the entire industry to back it up. The more companies that we have listed on there, the better it is, because it just shows that, hey, all these companies will go out of business. Now, that's the hard part. The hard part is that, how do you challenge a rule that we won't know the effects 2 years from now, right? Because you have to show some kind of a damage. And it's virtually impossible for us to show damage, because the FDA is going to say, well, we didn't ban e-cigs. We gave you a pathway. Here it is. It's the PDA. We were kind enough to give you 2 years. It's going to cost a lot of money, yes, but you have to pay to play with the big boys. and it's something that they certainly can defend. But there's other stuff amongst the regulations that are clearly not defined. A really interesting point was brought up during our phone conference with the attorneys, where they discussed, for example, the accuracy content of what you label. So if you have a bottle of 12 milligram nicotine, and they come and pick one off the shelf and they test it and it's 10 milligram, well, you'll be written up. But the truth is that nicotine oxidizes over
right. Degrades
and so what are they going to do then? Are they going to arrest you? Are they going to fine you? Is there a tolerance? AIMSA standards are 10%. This is what all the companies that work within AIMSA, and of course the company that I work for, adhere by. So if you have a 10% variance, which is allowed actually in NRTs, they're allowed to have that 10% nicotine variance. So we based it on that. But nowhere in the regulations is there any guidance. And also when it comes to the PMTA, I mean, that's a challenge. When it comes to the PMTA flavors, okay? So you have to file a study showing that the flavors that you use in your liquid is not, youth will not be attracted to it. There's no predicate to that. How is it possible I mean, if I file a PMTA for a watermelon flavor liquid, how is it possible for me to prove that a kid will not be attracted to a watermelon flavor? It's virtually impossible.
It's impossible.
So yes. So like I said, again, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's just a few examples. It's my personal opinion that devices, batteries, and so forth. I remember one troll on the internet that's for the last couple of years have been saying that FDA has no control over the devices, even though I said that if they're going to regulate, they're going to regulate everything, which is true. Now we see it. But it is my belief that if a device does not contain nicotine, it shouldn't be regulated under the CTP. So a coil, a tank, a battery device with a LiPo, that shouldn't be regulated. It's not a tobacco product. But the FDA thought otherwise. And so yeah, we have a huge task ahead of us. So from one side, Sevilla USA is going to help with that. Obviously, CASA and AVA, two of the groups that, the consumer group, and I believe Gregory Connolly is doing a great job, and they're running on fumes when it comes to funds. Those two groups, we're certainly going to financially assist. And which brings me to my last point, as far as Sevilla USA is concerned, the Cole-Bishop Amendment. I know there's a lot of confusion between HR 2058 and the Cole-Bishop Amendment. Right. And you've heard me use the term dead. I mean, obviously, HR 2058 is not dead. It is my opinion, and this is strictly my opinion, and without representing anybody, that it's not going to go anywhere. The Cole-Bishop Amendment has some language and size that if you look at the language within the Cole-Bill Amendment, the Cole-Bishop, and you look at the deeming regulations, how in the hell can you not take the Cole-Bishop Amendment over the deeming regulations, right?
Yes, correct.
If we're saying that we're a responsible industry and we want fair regulations, the Cole-Bishop offers that. And it buys us some time. And just, it stops the bleeding a little bit, but this definitely does not close the wound. So we really need to work as a community and as an industry to get support for this bill that I believe, since it does have bipartisan support, that it will move quickly. I think Congress will realize that this is a mistake, what they gave the authority for the FDA. They didn't intend to do that. And hopefully if we can get this, I mean, the Cole-Bishop bill is basically an injunction. It'll buy us some time. So once we buy that time, maybe it'll give us some more time to use the legislative structure, which is a 2-year plan, to remove vapor products from the CTP and force the FDA to create its own category, maybe the Center for Vapor Products, as it deserves, because it does not deserve to be under the tobacco category.
Well, Demi, let's face it, the Cole-Bishop Amendment is our best path to success.
No doubt.
Because if we go through the litigation pathway, that could be held up for years and years, and most of us would go out of business before that was heard anyways.
Unless you get an injunction, all right? So, I mean, yes. the goal is not to win. I mean, a lot of people think you can't win with the FDA. Yeah, that's true, okay? Even though we won, and if you do some searching, you'll see that there's other companies that have won against the FDA. Excuse me. The goal is not to win. The goal is to get an injunction. Right. And an injunction will buy some time to work the legislative front. I don't believe that a lawsuit is the answer, the long-term answer. I think that legislation is the long-term answer, and I totally agree with some of the groups that are saying that. However, we need both. We need both to raise awareness, to draw a lot of media attention. It's going to show to these politicians that these companies are, their livelihoods are threatened, number one. And the biggest tragedy of all is, obviously, the smokers and the vapors that use these products that are not going to have the accessibility. This is detrimental to public health.
Absolutely.
The announcement that I'm making tomorrow for Sevia USA, representing the Chinese manufacturers, I make a point that a lot of people haven't taken in consideration. After August 7th, if a company, let's say, I'm going to give you an example, a company makes the Innikin TC 100. After August 7th, if they discover that there's a chip failure inside here, or if there's a problem with this device that catches on fire or whatever it does, or they need to improve the chip, or they need to improve the temperature control, they can't do it because you have to follow a separate PMTA. So that is going against what the FDA is saying, that this is going to benefit public health.
Right.
It's detrimental to public health, because if they find a mistake with this device, they can't go back and fix it. They have to file for a separate PMTA. Likewise, everybody has their own belief on diacetyl and AP, and more power to you, whatever you believe in it. But we know so far with the studies that we have that diacetyl and AP they're harmful constituents, and they have been removed from the TPD, by the way. They're in the TPD guidelines in Europe. However, whatever your stance is on it, we know that those two constituents exist. Let's say August 9th, we discover that sucralose, or whatever, another ingredient that people are using within the e-liquid, is carcinogenic. You can't remove it because you cannot change your recipe.
You have to do the PMTA all over.
Absolutely. So that's a legally challenged point, if you want to. Yeah, I'm not an attorney by any means, and I'm trying to full disclosure. I'm just saying that is a challengeable point as well too, saying that these regulations were supposed to be put in place for public health. However, they're detrimental to public health simply because this is a real evolving product that needs innovation, and it's something that's new, and we need that time of more of a free market to discover, and better improve these products to help more smokers.
Hey,
Right.
Demi.
What they're doing is, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, there's a question in chat that you might understand a little bit better than I do. It's from Christopher Fiera. He asks, is there a predicate for the FDA regulating software for anything else?
No, absolutely not. That is a challengeable. Again, you see, I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff amongst the FDA that is challengeable. The software actually falls under what's called the consumer something. There's actually a group out there that protects software, by the way. Did you know that? They actually shown some interest in these regulations. So there is protection for software, and also under some kind of an act. I think it's the Consumer Something Protection Act or something that falls under. Definitely no predicate for software. There's no predicate to regulate this industry at all, to be honest.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying that a PMTA pathway. Look, if anybody out there tells you that they're going to be fine with these regulations, they're out of their fucking minds.
Right. Right.
The PMTA pathway for our particular product is a death sentence. There's no way that you're going to be able to comply. And let's say you're able to get 2 PMTAs, right? So you're going to get 2 flavors. What do you think? 15,000 vape shops in the United States are going to carry 2 flavors and stay in business? Come on, let's not fool ourselves.
Right.
Anybody that says that, they're trying to take advantage and monopolize the market, and it makes them sick, to be honest with you. This should be a free market. It should be a competitive market. I'm the believer of the free market. Put your products out there and let's see who's going to buy them. But there's no way that these jobs will stick around, and these vape shops will stick around with 2 devices and 2 liquids, or 10 liquids if you want to. Even 10 liquids will not keep vape shops open. And definitely not innovation. What's the passion with vapors going to vape shops, the majority of them? See what's new. Hey, did you bring a new juice in? Did you bring a new device in? All that freezes after August the 8th. So how are these places going to stay in business? The big guys are going to eat the small guys. You might see some tobacco, or even some tobacco funded e-cig companies. They're out there. You can look around. I don't have to call them out. Try to take advantage of the space, but the truth is that model will die, and along with it will die about 150,000 jobs in the U.S.
Yeah. And let's face it, they can go as far as saying after all the PMTAs have been through and the 2-year timeline has passed us, that they can now say we don't want butyric acid in it, which takes out all of our fruit flavors.
Yep.
And everybody would have to start all over again, and that would decimate the industry, if not completely destroy it by itself. So the way that this is set up is, and I can't agree with you more, Demi, we are set up to fail with this, and I think our only option is to fight it. And I've been saying that.
Yeah.
The PMTA is a discretionary decision. There's no checklist, right? You're not going to say, okay, you did this, check, here's your PMTA. right? So you submit it, and it can sit there on their desk, and it probably will. To be honest with you, I mean, again, this I'm not an attorney. I'm not telling you I'm an FDA person. I'm just guessing, and usually, when I'm guessing, I've guessed pretty right in the past. So um, they're probably going to just let the PMTAs pile up, or whoever's able to afford to put them in the beginning, which I don't, I don't think a lot of people will. And at the end of the time, they're just going to reject everything, and they can do that.
Right.
They said in their own words they're expecting to get 750 applications, which is, I don't know which shops you have, but there's 750 variances of one brand sometimes, right? So
Right.
The nicotine strengths and the sizes, the bottle sizes, and all that. So if they're expecting 750 PMTAs out of this entire industry, well, you know that they're not expecting for anybody to succeed.
Right.
They're all set up to die, and more so that even if you get a PMTA for liquid in, don't forget that the Chinese manufacturers have to get PMTAs in for their products as well too.
Because you have to test the products in
Absolutely.
the devices you're going to submit in the PMTA.
Absolutely. And so you can see that I don't know about the big companies, the small companies in China will not survive. They're going to move on to make hoverboards or whatever, because they can switch their factories overnight to do whatever they want. But even if the big companies try to comply, look, the truth is that a Chinese manufacturer can do a very simple thing. They can take this device and put on the package that this is not intended to use with nicotine.
Right.
They don't have to file. However, if a vape shop takes it and puts it in their shop,
it's a vape product, tobacco.
Nicotine, the law says, if you read, again, I highly suggest that you read the regulations. If it's reasonably assumed that it's going to be used with nicotine, you're not in compliance. So even if you can get the device passed through, you can't get the liquid, and vice versa. These two things work together. You can't have sub-ohm tanks if you don't have good liquid, and you can't have good liquid if you don't have sub tanks, which was part of my presentation in China. I put the two pictures up of their tanks, and I put a picture up of the liquids, and I said, you need the U.S. liquid manufacturers for this industry to continue to thrive. Because who wants to sub-ohm China liquid? I mean, to be honest. So yeah. Again, Cole Bishop is the best case scenario right now for us, and we're going to do a lot of work with the VTA at the beginning of June. We're going to go up to the Hill, and we're going to lobby hard to try to get it moving, and then obviously the lawsuit. I think it's needed. Whatever the result is going to be, I think Azim Chowdhury from Keller and Heckman, I think he's a great attorney. He's got a great team, and he has a case. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, and suing the FDA is extremely difficult. The whole grim irony of this is that we're paying for the FDA. FDA has about 85 attorneys on staff. Yeah. So we're going to be paying to sue, and we're going to be paying to defend the lawsuit that we're fighting, because basically our tax money is paying for the FDA, and we're also paying for the litigation to sue them. So we're just paying for everything at the end of the day. And and I know it's grim, but it's still kind of funny at the end of the day.
Well, I think worst case scenario, we're pretty much done for. Best case scenario, we get some parts of that regulation knocked out and we survive, but we have to continue to fight.
Yeah, look, I'm one of these people that was like really calm and collected when this shit hit the fan. I was actually in Birmingham, England, which was good, and I woke up and it's like my phone is blown up, and but I said it on my podcast a few months back. I was like, I hate this uncertainty. Just fucking give us the rule. Let's see what it is, and now let's deal with it. I'm calm, and I'm not panicking. I'm trying to keep everybody around me calm and not panicking. I today put my release out for the Tennessee Smoke-Free Association, which once again is going to support the lawsuit, and then we're going to support the Cole Bishop. And I was very thoughtful in the way that I wrote that, again, to calm everybody down, because I truly believe in my heart that, especially with all the bad news that we've had lately, I think that there's something positive coming. I truly believe that. I can't see, with all the work that all the advocates are doing, all the business owners, all the vapors, and having some really good people behind us, and some good scientists and some good legal counsel, I can't see how we cannot see a glimpse of hope in the future. Whether it be now, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years from now, I don't know when it's going to be. But I believe we're going to win. I believe one day we're going to win, and that's why I feel confident and I feel good about it. And I hope I'm right. Yeah.
I hope you are too.
So do I.
You know, I've been saying we got to fight this all along, Demi, and yeah, we just got to put our faith into the process and you know, do our part and help support this the lawsuit, as well as supporting our advocacy associations. And you know, we can't complain if we weren't a part of it and it fails.
I think it's extremely important for the egos and the financial situations to kind of be put on the back burner. It's something that's plagued us as an industry for the last 3-4 years, whether it's been competition between shops or even competition between advocacy groups. Listen, even advocacy groups need funding, right?
Yeah.
So in essence, they're competing with another advocacy group, just like a juice line is competing with another juice line.
Right.
But that's the reality. I mean, some people might not have the balls to tell you, but I will, because I think that's what's gotten it to this point. And if we don't get out of that mindset, up to now, I think that the industry has shot itself a lot in the foot, and it's only fitting that we put the final nail in our coffin. But the truth is, no matter who you support, put your money into something. If you're a small shop, budget as much as you can every month and set it to the side and give it to, you know, your state association or to a federal association, whoever you believe is going to help you. But do something. Don't sit on your ass. When we're paying $100,000 for sponsorships at Vape Summit or ECC,
Right.
and we can't raise $200,000 to launch this lawsuit, it's disgusting.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't make a difference who you are or who you support or who you like or you don't like. Because let me tell you, I fight for a lot of people, Kevin. I fight for a lot of people that I don't like. But just because I don't like them or I can't hang out with them doesn't mean I don't respect them.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that I can't fight with them shoulder to shoulder if our ultimate goal is to save vapor, right? So.
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of crap lately on social media. I've seen a lot of misinformation. I've seen a lot of misguidance. Sharing a Facebook post is not going to save vaping by far, and it's something that we've done as an industry collectively for the last 3-4 years. The slacktivism is not going to work this time, and no matter what you send to the FDA, it's not going to change the deeming rule.
Nope.
I see even people now complaining about, hey, how about alcohol? You don't regulate alcohol. Well, guess what? It's not going to make a difference. It really is not. The deeming rule has been filed in the register and in the Federal Register, and I don't care what you do now. No matter what you tweet to them or send them or try to compare it to, the deeming rule is a reality. And it's ironic. At the TPD last year when I was at Vape Expo and Vapors Jam in the UK, I told them, I said, the TPD is coming. I see product here that's not compliant. I see product, there's a big product dump in the EU now because a lot of people are just dumping, for the year that they have. But I told them, I said, the TPD is a reality. And they're like, oh, we got the lawsuit, we got this, it's going to, no, nothing saved it. The TPD is going into effect in 8 days in Europe. And even now, when I was at Vapors Expo, 90% of the products there were not TPD compliant. And you go talk to these vendors and they're like, what's the TPD? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Right? So
the TPD is doable. The TPD is manageable and doable.
Yes, it is. It's doable. It's not ideal.
Right.
I hate limiting Vapors choices. I hate limiting anything when it comes to vape. I think there's a shelf space and there's a demand for everything, and that's why this product works. You like round tubes, I like square. You like 5 mils, I like 2 mils. I like 24 milligram, you like 3 milligram. It's whatever everybody likes, and I hate those limitations that they have. But I think that the TBD is an evolving regulation, so after 2-3 years, we might see some changes based on what they're getting in. But at the end of the day, vapor's not going anywhere. That's a good thing. So yeah, do you have to have a 10 mil? Yes. Do you have to comply with some testing? Yes. Which is not a bad thing. It's doable. It's not cheap, but it's not unreachable like MTA, which is something that a lot of people haven't discussed, because I see numbers like 300,000, 1 million. They're really, if all we can take is predicate the one PMTA that passed, that cost one of the people at the TMA from Swedish Mets. When I asked him about how much did your application cost, he said, "How do you put a value on 20 years of research?" I mean, they've been doing this in Sweden for 20 years ago. I mean, we're talking millions and millions of dollars, 15,000 pages in the application, and it got rejected the first time because of language. So.
And that's the only one in the past 10 years it's been passed as a new product.
It's the only one ever.
Yes. products. And if that does not tell you anything, next time that you see a vendor sending, I saw an email that came in today. Again, I'll have to call it out. You probably got it. If you get spam email, you'll see it. But I got an email that says, yeah, we've been preparing for this day for the past couple of years, and we feel confident that our products, will apply. And they have 8 flavors, I think, 2 bottle sizes, 4 NIC strengths. So that's roughly 64. So at 64, let's say I'll take, worst case scenario, worst case scenario, $1 million each. That's
Right.
a $1 million investment on basically putting on a crap table, not knowing if you're gonna be approved. So don't believe the bullshit and the hype, and just try to get everybody together on the same page. Try to get them to support this lawsuit if they can. Get them to support their state organizations. Get them to support their national organizations, and try to use your influence in Congress. I think Democrats will get behind the Cole Bishop bill, especially if there's a huge business association in their area, like there is here in the Eastern Tennessee, where we have Chuck Fleischman, and we pressured them. And we have MOV, which is one of the largest manufacturers. They employ 50 people in this district. We have over 135 vape shops in this district. So that's the kind of pressure that politicians want to hear. Maybe we're going to support it. We're just going to say no. I mean, this is a common sense bill, and that's what we should be. We should be pressuring our politicians to get on board this Cole Bishop bill, and for temporary relief, and then we can sit down at the table with everybody, whether you like them or not, and develop a strategy for legislation. How are we going to remove these products from the CTP?
Absolutely.
I'm willing to take a few more questions if you have. Then I have to go pack. I got a 5:20 a.m. flight to Canada tomorrow.
Fine.
We've got a couple in here, Dimitri. Unchained asked if there's a place for donations.
For the, I don't know if you have the link. Let me just put it here. I'll put it here in the chat so you can have it. For
Absolutely.
The coalition, yes, there is a link that there's a few links that you can. I'm just going to donate to the. I'm going to give you the direct link that goes to the right to be smoke free. And I want people to understand, because again, the drama is just fucking unbelievable. Let me see where the chat is. I've lost it here. I'm going to give it to you here on Facebook, and you can share it if you want. Okay, Kevin?
All right. Sure.
There's so much drama in vaping. And what would be, vaping if there wasn't any drama?
Exactly.
Ames up posted a link on to donate. The first comment that I see by somebody that's a big advocate in the industry, fuck, if Ames is behind this, I'm not joining this lawsuit.
Why that mentality?
Right. And then when I posted the right to be smoke free, it's those guys that are doing Indiana. What have they done in Indiana? Which, by the way, we're waiting for. We feel confident on a good result in Indiana here in the next couple of weeks.
They got a good, reasonable judge there.
Right, irrelevant. Listen, this lawsuit is not brought by any group, by any organization, by any special interest, by stop the drama bullshit. This is an industry lawsuit, and that's why I think it's important that we all come behind it. I think we all need to support it, because it's not brought on by one specific group. In fact, I think that trade associations should guide their members to help with this lawsuit, but I don't think trade associations should be listed as a plaintiff. It's going to hurt the lawsuit. So I'd rather see businesses, small, big, all kind of businesses, whether you have 2 employees or 100 employees on there, because this is what we're going after. We're going to show that all these people are going to lose their jobs. So the drama that goes with it is just it's just unbelievable, man. It's if you can do a better lawsuit, get out there, put your balls in front, and I'll follow you. Take the lead. But nobody's taking the lead. And then when somebody takes the lead, all of a sudden everybody wants to bring him down. What the hell? I've always said, my opinions are harsh. I'm brutally honest. But hey, listen, if you can advocate better than me, come with me, buddy. Let's do it. If you can do a better job than what I'm doing, please go ahead and support the people that stand up for their states and for their products. You don't have to like me, but at least respect what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's something that we're missing in this industry. These personal, harsh, malicious, evil people that would rather take the baton and show off and show that I'm leading this fight. Yeah, it's my group and I did it all myself. I don't care who does it. I don't particularly care for some of the people that are on right to be smoke free. I don't, honestly. There's a couple companies I don't like, but just because I don't like them doesn't mean that I can't be on the same lawsuit with them. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Because our ultimate goal is to save our industry, for crying out loud. Stop with the drama and all the bullshit that goes along with it. And if more people did this and the more associations did this, we'd be in a better place right now. We'd be more organized and not spread out as we are. That's why they're kicking us like fish, because we're disorganized, and they know that. So
they see us as a bunch of people running around a room bumping into each other right now.
And we are. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have any guidance. Nobody's putting any guidance. We have this coalition that was formed, but what was the coalition? We don't have any guidance of what we're going to do with this coalition. And nothing against it. I'm not. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just saying this is the truth. This is where we are now. We have 8 days left. When are we going to do it? When are we going to file this lawsuit? We have to get it in there now. We have 88 days left with vapor as we know it. When are we going to fucking wake up and say we need to fight this?
Exactly.
When?
Fucking right.
Oh, you got me all fired up now. My blood pressure's up.
Now you're not going to sleep, man.
It's, you know, you're saying the same shit I've been telling my vendors in my local area, and we've been saying on this show since the day I started doing it.
Yep.
You know, and it's the same shit I've been saying for the last 3.5 years, is telling my local vendors, you can't fight, you got to work together. There's no goddamn reason why you can't work together. You're not a competition. I mean, yeah, you're all fighting for customers, but in the same time, you all have the same damn goal in mind. So there's no reason for you to fucking fight about it.
Sure. Look at other successful groups in the United States. Look at other industries.
Yep.
How well they're organized. And we need to take a lesson from that page, because there is a lot of money in this industry. There's a lot of profit, right? Crazy margins that I've never seen in my lifetime, and I've been a business owner for 23 years.
Yeah.
But why is there crazy margins? Why is there crazy profit? Because we're not regulated.
Yeah.
So don't think that these crazy margins are going to stay forever, right? Even if we go through legislation, we are going to have some regulation that's going to oversee this product. So your margins won't be the same. But that's something that you have to plan, and you should have planned in your business in the last 2-3 years. Just because you sell a bottle and you make 100% profit, you know, that's not going to last forever. Or everybody would basically open up a vape shop or be a juice manufacturer, even though it feels sometimes like everybody's a juice manufacturer. But honestly, the competition it's a healthy competition is good for the consumer. But when the time is to fight, that's when everybody needs to come together. In my state, which we have defeated bad legislation in the last 2 years, we have. I gave Lamar Alexander contacted me the other day. His office did, to submit data on vape shops in Tennessee. So, which was great, because he fears that these shops are going to go out of business. And I got an accurate count from one of my volunteers. And we have 373 shops. I have 79 of them on TSFA. I mean, how sad is that, right? We've beat bad legislation the last 2 years. We beat 21 plus, which was the same, tobacco classification out there in California. We beat drug paraphernalia. We worked to get the 18 plus and the childproof caps. We did so much for the state, and still to this day, in one of the states that has, without trying to brag, but I'm a huge advocate, and we've been successful. We have a great lobby. We can't get everybody on board. So that goes to show you that it's not just your area, it's everywhere. It's this mentality, these people that are not business people, that are opening up these businesses, and instead of listening to people that are trying to guide them the right way, the only thing they can think of is how they're going to screw the guy down the street and put it $1 cheaper to put him out of business.
Exactly.
Yeah. We've got a common goal. It's time to set aside the bullshit and look at the big picture and join together. Once we win and we get where we want to be, you can go back to your petty fighting and competition games. But right now, we need to set that aside.
Sure. And also keep in mind, how is it that every state's not organized by now? I mean, it's truly mind-blowing that we have states that don't have lobby representation at this stage of the game, when it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And to me, if we had done that a couple of years ago when I launched TSFA and I put that big push for state, and obviously we helped some states get organized independently, and there's some SFATA chapters out there and some other independent groups out there. However, if every state was organized under one umbrella, listen how we could have changed the political climate now. So we would have created this bridge, and that was my thinking by creating the TSFA. We create the TSFA that protects the state, and then the head of the group can connect to the national groups, which at the time was FARA and CASA and the rest of the groups, and then we can bridge the information down, because it's very hard for a national group with very small budget like these groups are running on to reach, the small store in Crossville, Tennessee, right? They don't have that connection. So
Right.
state umbrella could get to that store. So you give me the information from up top, we feed it down into the state, into the shops there. If we were completely organized now, state by state, now that we're shifting our battle to the federal, we can get data. Who in this industry can tell me how many vape shops are in the United States?
I can only guesstimate.
Yeah.
Nobody.
3,800.
Nobody can. Nobody can give us an accurate number. How is that even possible for our industry? Who can give us an accurate number of exactly how much money we have in this industry? Nobody. We have no data, but the states could have done that. So now we have all these states organized, gather the data from your state, turn it on to the federal. Then we go to the OMB. We don't look like idiots. We go to the OMB with actual figures and we say, this is the economic impact in this nation.
Right.
Not just because I presented at the OMB for my state. I couldn't present for the nation. But we could have put that data together and we could have mobilized so much quicker than we are trying to do now through Facebook and Twitter and calls to action that 5% of the industry looks at, because we're the 5% that are constantly online because we're passionate about what we're doing, but that doesn't represent the 95% that are out there that don't even know that e-cigs will be banned.
Exactly.
Yeah, we dropped the ball there. But anyway, whatever happened in the past, we can't look back and say, oh, we did this wrong. We did a lot of stuff wrong, and we did a lot of stuff right. We had a lot of wins. So let's not forget all the good times that we've had advocating. Now, though, we have to look forward. So we need to put all that aside and look forward to what the goal is. And that's what I've done. That's what I've tried to do. And I've had my run-ins with various groups and people, my fair share. But I look past that. What is my goal now? My goal is I'm looking down and I'm looking for that slither of hope. I'm looking for that little light at the end of the tunnel that can give us a window to make it through. And whatever that takes. Is it the Cole Bishop? Is it the lawsuit? I'm going to support those because those have launched and I can put my support behind it. And everybody should do the same. Forget about all the petty bullshit and look forward to what our goal, and our goal is to save vapor. That's what everybody should be doing.
Absolutely.
Yep. And it's very tough to get states on board. I have spent countless hours getting states that are not represented into an association, and there's always some kind of pushback that just, in the bigger scheme of things, I try to tell them, look, this is just the cost of doing business is being in an association. You guys have to realize that as a business owner. And like you alluded to, there's a lot of these people that have never owned a business before, so they don't understand the dynamics and what's at stake here. They think, well, I've got to buy more juice, or I got to buy more mods. Well, you got to pay for your lights, so you got to pay for an association as well. It's just as important.
There's no reason why a shop couldn't afford a couple $100 a month for
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're not making $200 extra to save your business, just go back to whatever Starbucks or whatever you're working before. If that's the reason, but that's not really the reason. And I know this for a fact because I've seen this from businesses that are successful. They use that excuse. Oh, I can't afford it.
Right. You can't afford not to pay it.
Right, but it's not really that they can't afford it; they just don't want to give it up, and it's a shame. But you see that if you have 70, 80 shops in your state, you can get really organized. You can have a good budget. Our budget here in Tennessee about $90,000 a year. It's ridiculous. Our JR spends about $1.7 million in Tennessee on lobbying.
Yeah.
Right. So we spent $90,000 and we've beat off bills for the last 2 years. So it's ridiculous for any other state, especially some of the Oklahomas and Texas and Californias that have, thousands of millions of dollars flowing through them, and they can't get organized to get a state. Even though California does have 3 California SFATA chapters over there. But what I'm saying overall as a state org, we need independent state orgs to run to protect their state and then attach themselves to the national groups. Financially help the national groups as well too, because I think it's extremely important that we have that funneling money. But instead of having the big national organization reaching out to the little guy trying to get $200, why don't you reach to the big independent association and get thousands of dollars, because they can go out and collect $100 from every store. And this is what we do with the VTA. VTA, we're members as TSFA. GSFA is a member, so we pay our dues to VTA for the federal lobbying. And in turn, we have that outlet when we need it. And VTA was instrumental in Georgia when that bad bill came last year, which was similar as Indiana, and they've been instrumental in helping in the Cole Bishop bill. And that's what a good trade association does on the federal level. They're there when you need them, right? The Independent State Association works year-round, 365, even in the off-season. A good association creates networking with their politicians, creates various, goes out there and educates about tobacco harm reduction. And then when the legislative session starts, they're ready to go.
Yep. They got that relationship built so that they've got more pull.
Right. And then when it's time and you need help from the federal, hey, that's what I pay my fee to VTA. If I called VTA tomorrow and I say, hey, I got a problem, I need help, that's what they're there for when I need them. If I don't call them, that means everything's going great in my state and I don't need you, really. And this has happened in the past when Brian from Enjoy has sent me an email on this bill that was coming. And I emailed them back. I said, Brian, thank you so much for bringing it to my attention. I think we got it handled. So save your resources. For another state, Massachusetts is getting killed right now with a 40% tax. Let's not forget it. New Jersey is getting ready to have a flavor ban hearing Monday. But let's turn our attention to the states that really need it right now, instead of, the states that if they need help, they'll reach out. And I've always have. One thing that I can tell you that I'm really proud of is every time I've been in a situation where people look to me and I can't give them an answer, I always reach out because there's people above me that are very smart and very talented. And prime example is Georgia. When this bill came down in Georgia, we activated Kevin in 48 hours. I had in a Facebook chat with Kevin Skipper, Julie Westner, Alex Clark, Tony Abood, I can't remember, Bill Funderbrook from the GSFA, Brian Fodick from Enjoy. We're all in this chat and we're developing a strategy. Within 2 days, we had Gregory Conley down here. We showed up in the Capitol. We testified. We knocked this shit out. Why? Because that's how we win. We all come together. And it's going to come back next year. No doubt. It's going to come. But we're ready now. We know what's coming because we have a lobbyist in Georgia that's monitoring this year round. Right. And when that lobby picks up the phone and says, hey, guys, we got something bad coming, that's when we need to come together and activate. No matter who you like or you don't like, the whole point is to kill this. And that's what we did. And we can do this on a federal level. Trust me. If we all come together, we're a huge force. If we all come together, we're a force to be reckoned with. And we can do it. I truly believe that we can.
I believe we can too.
Yes.
But we have to fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they're not going to give us anything, obviously, from what we saw from the deeming regulation. They're not going to give us it. It was funny. At the TMA, the black market question was brought up to Mitch Zeller. You could tell he was holding the podium, when he was giving his presentation. It almost looked like, I fucked you guys. That's the person I got. I like to read body language.
Body language, yeah.
And when he was giving his slides, it looked like he was like, and then when the questions started coming, you could tell he was cringing on the podium a little bit. You could tell, look at his hands. But the question for black market came up, which, I believe is going to be a huge black market, just like it was 5-6 years ago. When we started to vape, that was a black market, guys. Let's be honest. Yeah. A lot of these guys that were selling juice online didn't have no licenses, didn't have no labs. They were mixing that stuff in their house, and that's fine. That's how this industry was started. Yeah. But it's going to go back to that, right? So when the black market, he says, we have enforcement. We will bring in more enforcement. We're going to, DEAs, tobacco, firearm. We're going to bring everybody inside. It was just virtually impossible. He's saying that to kind of put the message out there that we're going to go after the black market. Right. Let's be realistic. Come on. I could hear this hangout right here, and I'd be like, hey, you need some juice? Yeah, hit me up.
Right.
What's on PayPal? And there's no way that there's anything that can do it because we're always going to have accessibility to nicotine. So it won't be good nicotine, but it'll be nicotine. And I want my nicotine. I don't vape for zero. I vape for nicotine. So,
Amen.
Awesome. Hey,
I came on 5 today, which is really good. I'm really enjoying it.
I'm kind of jealous about that.
But,
quite a bit.
It's got a big hole. It's got a 3.2 hole if you want it, and airflow adjustments on the outside. But
they finally did that?
Yeah. I'm a mouth to lunger, and it's everything that the K-Fund 4 should have been. That's what I
posted. Mouth to lunger as well, right here. Yeah, that released in Europe today, right?
I don't know when it's going to be released.
I know it's being released in Europe first.
Yes, it is. I don't know when it's going to be released. These were the reviewer samples that were sent out, and Flo knows I'm a big mouth to lunger, so he always tries to get me out a piece to try out. And I always tell people to look back at my pictures on Facebook. They're like, which was the best tank? Just look, see what I've posted the most of. It's the K-Fund Light, I bypassed the K-Fun 4. I didn't like it. And went to the K-Fun V3, which I really liked, but it was small. And now we have the 5, which is basically a V3 blown up. And it works exactly the same, but it has the airflow ring on the outside. So you don't have to take the screw and adjust your airflow. You know, you just do it on the fly on top of it. So it took them, 3 years, but I think this is the one. And
well, the first 100 units will be on vapormill.com, you guys.
well, the version 5 is always the best one, right? You shouldn't buy any version 1. Just wait for version.
Yeah, wait till the 5th one.
Yeah. And then what was I going to say? The other day I was when I was in England, they have a 2 mil restriction there. Yeah. Everybody's freaking out about this 2 mil restriction. Come on. If that's your worries, I mean, I can guarantee you right now, I know that Chinese are already working on. It's just so simple. You sell a 2 mil Chinese tank, right? And then you unscrew the top cap where you fill the juice, and guess what? There's another attachment that can screw with an extended chimney, mix it a 4 mil tank. There you go. Problem solved. This is no issue to me at all, honestly.
They did it with the moonshot.
Yeah, you can.
It's a Galen moonshot.
You can make anything you want.
They're treating the TPD is treating nicotine like it's plutonium or something. They're worried about it getting into the environment.
Well, it's dosage because you saw that the NIH is giving it for NHS. I'm sorry, not NIH. It's different American thing. But they're recommending them for smokers. They're using them as cessation as well too. So they're very specific on doses. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to do that study that we funded last year to show the consistency of every puff that you take of the nicotine to the user. Right. And so they're treating it a little bit like a cessation, which I don't like. And it's going to have its limitations. But this is the beauty. Folks, we took a flashlight and we made it into a fucking mod.
Exactly.
Okay? So no matter what they do, at least the product's going to be on the market. And the ingenuity of vapor. I mean, the ingenuity of vapors. We used to take tea bags. We used to take 306s and debridge them to get a better vape out. I mean, come on. There's stuff that we can do.
Lipton tea bags and blue foam.
Yes, absolutely. Let's not forget about it. Because we have it all easy now. Yeah, you just open up a tank and fill it up. Yeah, but the ingenuity of vapors, I think, will always be around. The only bad thing is, how do we give a good experience to the vapor? And that's something, again, to the smoker, I'm sorry. That's something that me and Phil worked really hard with the Chinese manufacturers this past year. Everybody was going sub-them. And then we sat down in our last trip and said, listen, this is bullshit. We're leaving, 40 million smokers out there that have not tried vaping because we don't have the right products. And then what did you see? The AIO come out from Joyte, the Aspire K3 that came out from Aspire. I say Aspire and Phil always bugs me about that. I say Aspire, I'm sorry, and then everyone always bugs me. But we have the Pro Tank coming back from Kangaroo. We're seeing, the E-Grip 2, which I got a couple of days ago, which is fantastic. Mouth and lung. I give it to my wife. She absolutely loves it. We're seeing now, it's like we're going back in time, right? Everything in vaping goes like this, right? So now we're seeing all these good starter kits that are coming out, right? These are good products. You give the AIO, you give the K3 to somebody with good liquid. If they can't quit, they don't fucking want to quit. I mean,
it's about time that people started focusing on the starter stuff again, because the last good starter tank was the Nautilus.
Absolutely, and still is. I mean,
absolutely. I still keep it. I still get my bosses to order them in because they work. That with some kind of an ice stick or the mini.
It's ugly. It's the ugliest. I like the K3. I think the K3 is sexy. It's black. It fits, all top to bottom. You can take it off that device and put it on an ice stick black.
Right.
Adjustment on it. Anakin's putting out a 20-watt Evolve Endura kit now. So you have an Endura tank with a 20-watt Evolve chip, so you can get some adjustment if you want. Again, really good stuff. I forgot to even mention the T22 from Anakin, which is a great starter kit.
Yes,
but what I'm saying is that all these Chinese manufacturers finally realize that the sub-ohm market, once you sell to them, you're just recycling customers. And that's why you see a lot of companies that their sales declined this year, because everybody came out and was making a sub-ohm tank. The market was saturated, and we're basically selling to enthusiasts instead of selling to smokers. And now we're seeing the shift again, and that's good because we need to increase our numbers over the next couple of years for this legislative battle that we're going to have. And we need, we're estimating 9 million. I don't believe it's 9 million vapors, dedicated vapors. There might be some dual users in there. There's some people that have tried it in the past that didn't work for them. But let's say that our numbers are that high. Imagine if it's when it's 18 million people. I mean, I'm hoping it'll be 18 million people. Imagine that power. Imagine if we can get 18 million people to get out there and vote. Shit, we can shift. We can shift a federal election. Forget the local election. I mean, we can shift a federal election.
Absolutely.
And speaking of elections, I don't know who I'm going to vote for because they're all fucking nuts. But if I hear another vapor tell me I'm vaping for Trump because he's going to say vaping, I'm going to slap him.
Thank you for that.
There's always Gary Johnson, the Libertarian Party.
See, I've thought about voting for him.
But the country is not set up for a three-party system.
No, it's not.
It's not, and they don't have any chance. Now, yeah, if everybody takes the stance that I just said, obviously there's not going to have a chance. If everybody, there's no way that we can have the power and numbers to get them up there to the 3-4 million to set a stand. And no matter who you vote for, it's going to benefit the other party. So you vote for Gary Johnson, it's going to benefit the one party that's not going to vote. And so yeah, this is a really. I'm not a political guy on Facebook by any means. I try to stay away from it because everybody gets really antsy. Yeah. But I will tell you one thing: this is the first election that I've ever seen, and I've voted every election here in the United States. This is the first election that, honestly, from the primaries, even when there was a bigger selection from both parties. I'm a registered Republican, but I vote bipartisan. From both parties, everybody that was running, I couldn't stand anybody. Like all of them, douchebags, all of them, every one from the Republican Party, is a complete joke, and everybody from the Democratic Party, obviously, the same thing. I wish Joe Biden would run. I'd vote for him. I'm kind of surprised he didn't run. I'd love to vote for Joe Biden. But
he's too honest. He gives away all the secrets too often.
He does, but I mean, that's something that I can look to at least and say that I feel, I have no confidence in who's available now. And now we're down to Hillary and Trump. And then you look to yourself and you're like, I mean, just from an ethics perspective, I'm Greek. And I mean, looking at you guys, I can assume that you're not Indian American or Cherokee.
Actually, I am part Cherokee. You might 5% Native American.
You're pretty white in my opinion.
Right.
It's irrelevant. It's just a joke. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm Greek, and I employ Mexicans at my restaurant. Good people that have worked for me. And you have this guy that comes out and says, well, we're going to take every Mexican and their kid and get him out of it. Who the fuck is going to come wash dishes at my restaurant? 16-year-old kid that you can't get him to do anything these days? I mean, this is the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. This entire economy is going to collapse. What are you talking about? So I can't, from an ethics perspective, I can't, there's no way I can vote for him. I can't. And then I'm afraid because I travel a lot. He's pissed off every fucking Muslim in the world, and I travel a lot, and I have to worry about my flights now. And if Trump gets elected, who knows what the hell is going to happen with the Middle East? So yeah, I joke around a lot, but yeah, I don't want to get too political. But I don't have any faith to say. I'm a one-issue voter, right? If you're going to go after vape, I'm not going to vote for you. But none of the ones that are running. You can convince me that they will save the vapor industry. I heard a lot of Trump is for small business. No, bullshit. Trump is for big business, big corporate business. They're not for the little guy. So let's not get those two things confused and get sometimes delusional because we're hoping for this person to come and save us. Nobody's going to save us but us. There's not one politician does not get special interest money from pharmaceutical and big tobacco. And unfortunately, we as an industry have not been able to replenish that money to have a void. There are always going to be those special interests, no matter what's Republican or Democrat. Doesn't really make a difference. If it was now Democrats in power and they were Democrats trying to run this bill, HR 2058, through, the Republicans wouldn't sign it, wouldn't come on board. It's the same thing, right? It would have been reversed, but it would have been the same thing.
Yeah. So, well, I think in the future we can go after the Appropriations Committee in a more effective manner to lobby for people on our side there. We can get a majority of them. That might be a better bang for our buck, which is something I brainstormed when I first read those regs. How do you beat a superior army? You sneak around behind them and you destroy their food source, and their food source is their money. So if you can cut that off, you can kind of get your way.
And that's part of the VTA strategy as well too.
It is.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of people are missing that point. That even if the president's for vapor, there's really not much you can do. Let's be honest. So even though they do have to, the FDA does have to directly speak to the White House, but there's other ways, and I think that the FDA knows this.
Yeah.
This bright young lady, again, I will not name her. We had a really good discussion on the phone a couple of days ago, and she brought up a really interesting fact. She says, "What if there's a conspiracy theory? What if I'm Mitch Zeller, right?"
I know who that is.
Yeah. So what if I'm Mitch Zeller and I say, "Well, I'm getting a lot of pressure from the Hill to put out, you have all these e-cigs and they're marketing to kids and they're pressuring me. I can't put a half-ass bill. I can't put out half-ass regulations because then, these people are going to come after me. I'm going to lose my job. Not only me, but all the CTP heads are going to lose their job. So what if he said, well, I'm just going to fuck them as hard as I can and then let Congress come in and save them. And then I'm going to say, hey, look, I'm Mitch Zeller. I tried to stop this industry. I gave them the most difficult path. But look, Congress is the one that did it. So maybe I'm not saying that's the case, but it's a really interesting theory that I have to believe has a little bit of merit as well too. In the past, it's talked about e-cigs, it's talked about tobacco harm reduction, modified risk product category. He's talked about this in the past. It's a hard time. It's the time we looked at nicotine and how it's being delivered. He's been a proponent of tobacco harm reduction. For him to do this, the only thing that you can think of is like his hands were tied. We really need to do this. We don't have another choice because Senator Lowey from Connecticut, the bitch from Florida, whatever her name is, Curly Sue. All these people would have just tore him up. I hope she's not. I'm not listening now, but I can't stand her. She needs to get laid. But these people would have tore him up when he was done. They really would have gone after him and say, that is, even now, look at the New York Times, the piece that was written a couple of days ago that says, oh, they're not tough enough. Well, what the hell? They're not tough enough. They're basically putting us out of business. What the hell is not tough enough? Well, yeah. But that's it. All right, guys. Well, I mean, I could sit here for hours and hours and talking to you, but I really have to go.
Absolutely.
You got to get to Canada. Hey, Deeming, when you get up there, talk to Ray Yates.
Yes, I'm looking forward to talking. Bill Tarling, I think, is going to be there too. These are really good guys. They've given me a lot of information. Bill Tarling is actually the guy that sent me the information on the software, and I forwarded it to the attorneys. And it's great to see this. It's great to see EU, David Dorn, and all those people giving their support, and the Canadians giving our support. And when I was in Birmingham, we had a really good stage speech with David Dorn, and all these people were asking questions about the TBD. Just really interesting questions. They really wanted to find out what's going on. So this is an international battle. This is not our fight. It's a fight for papers everywhere. And trust me, other countries should care what we're going to do because other countries follow the FDA.
Canada.
Well, let's see what the FDA is going to do. Whatever they're going to do, we're going to copy it. It could be Canada.
Canada's helping us right now. I'm in very tight circles with the Canadian advocates because they see what's happening and they're feeling lucky that they have the TPE, and they're looking at our FDA regs, and they're saying, man, what do we need to do to help you guys?
Right.
So we're not alone.
I totally agree. But anyway, Smoke Free Radio, a little shameless plug every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And we got some really good people on there doing some shows, including Patrick from the Vaping Militia and Amy Lane, and JT is going to start soon. And anybody else who wants to have a show, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to have you on. And at Vaping Greek, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's pretty much it.
Thanks for coming on.
Very much, Steve.
Yeah,
Keep up.
Have a good trip, buddy. Well, there you guys have it. Dimitris Agriafotis. It's a hard last name to say.
Right. He's such a great guy. He really is.
Does a lot for this industry. He's, when he's talking about going back to China 3 years ago to get them on board, and it's just coming to fruition recently. He's got the foresight in this industry to know where it's going.
Oh yeah.
And he has echoed what all three of us that are on the show have been saying. The regulations are not doable. You got to fight them. There's no two ways about it.
Oh, that's why you don't comply.
And he also reiterated the unity that we need, which is why I get upset when, and I'm not trying to bring up anything bad, but when an advocate downs another organization, that does nothing but damage thousands of people's mindset on the unity piece.
Yeah.
We should not tolerate it, and we should speak out about it. I don't care if you're just a vapor. Just a vapor is just as powerful as any major advocate out there by speaking out for unity.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's a very touchy subject with me. I don't like everybody in this industry either. I've probably got a lot of enemies out there, but you know what? we've got to bring ourselves together to get through this fight before we worry about the little shit. It really is not important right now. What's important is that we join together and we have one goal with one target.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, it's just like there's people in the new group that I made. I believe you got brought into it, Kevin. The Illinois Vape Vendor Association, for my vendors to create an association in there so they can decide what they want to do. There are vendors in there I don't care for. I don't necessarily get along with because of whatever reasons. It doesn't matter.
No.
As long as they're willing to join in and help the fight, I don't give a damn right now as long as they're doing their part.
Right.
It's when they sit on their ass and they don't do anything to either help the fight in any way, shape, or form, then I have an issue.
Right.
Right. If you're just going to be a naysayer and you don't bring anything to the battle, get the fuck out of our way.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm not going to put it any lighter. Get the fuck out.
Actually, I think I said that in my video the other night, didn't I, Jacob?
Yeah.
Well, in typical fashion, you would have been missing this show tonight, Jacob.
Hey.
He only lives 3 minutes from the shop now.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. How do you like the new place?
I love it, man. I really do. It's definitely different because I'm used to a small 700-foot apartment.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And having over 1,000 square foot house it's great. It really is. I mean, my office is fucking huge. I barely have anything in here, but
looks good. I like the paneling. I really do.
It's the only room in the house that has natural paneling.
Yeah. Natural
paneling.
Yeah. Let's not get me started. I hate paneling so much. But
congratulations, man. Truly, that's a big accomplishment. You did that. I can't even do that right now.
Hell, I have a house. I own my car.
Because of this damn place right here, you see.
Yeah. No. What really bugs me, and I actually went off on somebody the other day in Crossroads. The people that are saying hand checks and vape videos and cloud videos and shit are more important than advocacy posts really pisses me the fuck off.
Well, and that's when everybody needs to speak out.
I know, and that's why I called them out right there in the post. I was like, you know what, this group is formally about advocacy, and I will continue to make it so. If you don't like it, get the fuck out.
Right. And I mean, maybe we can go about it a bit more diplomatically.
No, fuck that.
To say, hey, well, there's different levels of it. If somebody's just wanting to have fun, say, hey, that's all fun and great, but we have a focus right now and we have a goal. We need everybody to focus on this, please. So initially, I wouldn't kick them in the ass, but it just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
When you've got public figures that are creating division, that has to be nipped in the bud immediately because that affects thousands of people.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter what forum it is, you need to step up and say it.
You're right. I will admit, Jacob, I don't know if you're in that new Illinois advocacy group or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Somebody added me to it, and I did check it out because I realized that they were creating a bunch of them.
Right.
When I checked out the original one, there was only 19 members in her home state.
Right.
How are you going to create a massive amount of advocacy groups supposedly wanting to take them all nationwide when your own state group that you created, the first one, only has 19 damn members?
Yeah, I got added to the group. I don't know who added me. I can't remember, but I looked around for a second and I promptly left. Mainly because the advocacy groups that I want to be a part of, I'm already a part of, and I don't honestly think that the divide and conquer is the right approach. We need to have certain advocacy groups that people can go in and get all the answers, and not just hundreds of advocacy groups that people can go in and get some of the answers.
Well, I mean,
that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Or bring something new to the table that nobody else is doing that's needed.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, she had whoever created the group had done a couple of good things really quick that I mean had already been posted in one way or another in other groups, and that was
Right.
she went through and she posted the link for or something that showed all the Illinois representatives.
Right.
But again, if you're going to create an advocacy group for other states, make sure the one you got at home has got some juice behind it first.
Absolutely.
Because if you ain't got no juice, how the hell are you going to help other states?
Yeah.
So,
Like Dimitri was saying, 70 something, 79 shops out of Tennessee,
300 and
out of
something.
300 something. So it was a fraction of, and even that fraction was very effective. Imagine if we had half of everybody on board.
Right.
And I do spend countless hours trying to get states outside of my own. Colorado has no issues right now. We've got the luxury of pot tax blanketing our politicians with plenty of spending money. So they're not focused on us right now. We're not getting high taxation and flavor bans put on the table right now. So I'm taking this time to go after other states that haven't organized. Montana, Wyoming, all these little states. They half of them don't know what's going on because they're not involved in Facebook, and the other half just haven't been given the right information to understand the importance of the fight.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm just going to guesstimate here and say that us right here, the people that are watching the show, the people that get on the Facebook groups, the people that actually watch YouTube videos, we're maybe 20-25% of the entire vaping world.
I wouldn't know if I'd give them that much.
I'd probably say 3, 5.
Yeah.
Most of
Five.
vapors just buy their shit and they're happy they're vaping. They don't get on Facebook to worry about it, which is that's the hard part for us is we have to find a way to reach out to them, to inform them of what's going on.
Yeah.
That
Let me
I mean,
address.
shops are good for that, but there needs to be other ways.
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me address a question real quick.
Sure.
Unchained, yes, there was a group, and it wasn't that they don't allow advocacy posts. There was somewhat of a mix-up. When somebody wants to post something about advocacy, like the auction that happened for Indiana, which is what it was all about, what they like, the group admins like to happen is you come to them first, show them what it is so that they can kind of vet it first to make sure that it is what they're saying it is. The auction got posted before the admins saw it, and they weren't happy about it, and they would not allow it after the fact. Am I happy about it? No. Did some people leave the group over it? Yes. I'm not going to mention the group here because they do still do a lot of good things. I myself am contemplating leaving the group, but not fully because of those reasons. There's some other things that I'm starting to have issues with, and even though, like I said, the group does do a lot of advocacy stuff, it's just not something you're going to see daily, maybe not even weekly in that particular group.
Right.
Not like you would see in
Central Illinois Vapors or Crossroads or
or my particular group that I own and run. Almost, especially in the last 2 weeks, practically every post has been advocacy related.
Yeah, Amy's bringing up. Don't forget, you guys. We can't. We still got to have a little bit of fun. People still want to enjoy the community and they still want to enjoy the hobby. We can't make it too serious all the time. Yes, it's a serious issue, and yes, we have some major hurdles to clear in this industry. But make no bones about it, there's still going to be cloud comps. There's still going to be people drinking. There's still going to be people doing hand checks. That's all part of our culture. But don't let it bother you. Let people have their fun. As long as they're doing a part of advocacy, they're allowed to have some fun. Hell, even I have fun sometimes, believe it or not.
I'm fine with all of that as long as they're not trying to tell other people that it's more important than advocacy.
Correct.
Which is why I called that particular person out in the group that I'm in.
Yeah.
Right. And that's appropriate.
Like I said, Unchained, they do allow advocacy. They just would prefer to be able to make sure whatever you're posting. I mean, now that particular one happened to be for an auction.
Right.
It wasn't an actual advocacy post. So, they wanted to be able to make sure that the auction was for what it was, not to benefit someone. So I can kind of get it once I got more of the information about it. It still pissed some people off, but it is what it is. Not
Kevin,
every group's going to allow everything. Yes, it does, Riz.
Kevin,
No, it doesn't, Riz. It does. It actually says advocacy posts are allowed. But I think it also says in there somewhere that they want to be able to vet the links first.
It's a premium lager with a chili added.
It doesn't sound very appealing.
It is relatively hot, probably jalapeno hot, maybe halfway between that and habanero.
Ooh.
And I love it.
I don't want spicy in my beer.
I love it. I can't not drink it. I mean, it's pretty good stuff. You gotta try it, and it goes great with dessert flavors and custards.
I'll revisit that, Riz, and make sure, because if that's what it says, I will be leaving the group then.
Are we?
But it's
Rod, I think I know
talking
it.
about fun. I don't have fun, ever.
Rod, is it the group that Rourke got in trouble for?
Yes.
Okay.
He got booted, right?
Huh?
Did he get booted?
I'm gonna read their pin post.
No,
real
he
quick and
didn't
see
get
what they're-
booted, but his post got deleted.
And I agree, Unchained. Advocacy is our fight right now. I mean, not everybody's an advocate, but everybody can do something. And if your shop isn't involved in an association, ask them to be. Or if they don't want to, don't hammer them. But if they don't want to voluntarily be a part of it, shop at another shop, even if you got to go 5-10 miles out of the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the whole main reason I brought Dimitri's on tonight was to talk to you guys about Sebia, SEVIA USA. They are doing some great things, and when they say we'll give you X amount of dollars right off the bat to secure our revenue, we should all be looking at it the same way as industry people. And vapors, you've got CASA, you've got Not Blowing Smoke, you've got a lot of people that are there to help guide you guys. So everybody has a role, and every advocacy group helps. And I don't know if you guys know Biker Granny and J-Rock, but Biker Granny, Tamara, she got me into advocacy when I first started making juice. And her and J-Rock, they were going around back then, 3-4 years ago, probably way longer than that, probably since 2009, 2010. And they were advocating back then. So these guys have seen it evolve from, they started it in Colorado, and now it's evolved into a lot of, like Demi said he hates to see these egos come out. And what he means by that is there are some people that are doing it for, you know, the recognition and and they will trash other people to make themselves stand out. And that's not what we're about, you guys. That is not advocating. That's dividing. Yeah, the one-upness has got to stop.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like, I know there's probably some people out there that think I do this
Be vape
show
famous.
to be vape famous or vape recognized or whatever. I give a shit less.
The only I'm gonna pause you there for a second. The only rule in the group that says anything close to what we're talking about is they don't accept charity postings or charity raffles or auctions. That's it. There's nothing about advocacy in their pin post.
Advocating, you know, I was asked by somebody today, did I want to get paid for advocating? And I said, no, I do not want to get paid. And they said, are you sure? And I said, I'm absolutely sure. I don't do this for me or for money. I do this for the industry to survive. I was kind of offended that they asked me to get paid, but that's okay. I'm sure there's some people out there that put a price tag on this industry.
I advocate for everybody. If you vape, I advocate for you.
Well, I'm going to say it like this. I don't advocate for me. In a sense, yes, I still I advocate for everybody that does vape, but more so it's for the people that haven't found us yet.
Yeah.
Because I want the people that have not been able to quit smoking, or let's say it this way, because, you know, pretty soon, once the regs hit, you're not going to be able to say that. It's for the people that haven't found an alternative to smoking. Because without guys like us, and Dimitri, and Phil, and Granny, and J-Rock, there ain't going to be anybody to help find that alternative. There's not going to be an alternative to find.
Yep. You know, and Dimitri's taken that idea and applied it with the mods that are coming out and advised these Chinese companies what they should be making to bring more smokers over to ensure our industry grows. That's fucking brilliant. You know, that AIO, I know he had a hand in the design of that.
Right.
I love the AIO. I mean, it's not something I could use anymore. I mean, I shouldn't even say that. I'm not a mouth to lung person. I vape like I smoked. I smoked. I took lung hits. I'm the guy that could smoke a whole cigarette in a minute or less.
Yeah, that was me too.
I never could do that.
But it is a phenomenal starter kit. You can't get any damn simpler than an AIO.
It's easy to use. There's not a lot to learn about it. Put the juice in and go.
Right.
And when we all started, we were kind of reflecting on that. I remember taking Cardos apart, trying to get better smoke out of them, better vapor. You know.
Not me. Fuck a Cardo.
I tried.
I use Cardos.
I tried. I definitely tried. I rebuilt them some bitches.
Not me. I used Cardos for about 2 weeks, and then I found the Vivi Nova, and that was it, Jack. I was on.
Blue foam. I never did the blue foam, man.
I did blue foam and Lipton tea bags.
I came in when I started vaping, and I'm like a lot of people. I know a lot of you guys know the exact date you quit smoking. I know I do. I can tell you down to the time I put my last cigarette out.
March 8th, 2011.
And here's mine, because it's always stuck with me. It's 12/12/2012 at 10
I remember
p.m.
that. I remembered that because it was such an easy date.
Yeah, at 10 p.m. That's when I had my last cigarette. Never picked up another one. I have 3.5 years later, and I still haven't picked up a cigarette just to see if I could smoke one. Just because I can't stand the smell of it anymore. I can't imagine what it would do to me if I tried to light one.
Well, Tamara brings up, Biker Granny brings up a good point. There's we're going after numerous areas. Um, make no mistake about it. The lawsuits that are being filed, and the one with Halo was primarily on constitutionality about the claims that we are not allowed to make. So when the amendments get attached to the individual lawsuits, there's going to be pretty much everything you can imagine that we do not agree with in those lawsuits, and they are going to have to address those issues. And it's not going to be a quick process, and it's not going to be an inexpensive one. Your associations are going to be asking you all for money, whether you're a vapor or an industry person. Expect that, or expect to not be in reality. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we're going to need probably $10 million just to get this rolling full speed. $10 million.
It's going to take a lot of money.
Well, if you look at, I think we estimated we got 10 million vapors. If somehow we could get everybody on board and donate $1, we'd be covered.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. We have outlying states that don't know what advocacy is. They don't know about the groups. We have independents that are doing well, but we need to get them on the same page as the national groups. And, we really need, I would ask every one of you guys to call a neighboring state shop or get involved with the group, whether it's online or whatever, and ask them what their advocacy plan is. Get them involved. Let them know about SAFADA, VTA, CASA, not blowing smoke. All these groups can help them out.
Absolutely. Before I forget, Kevin, Riz asked me about a starter kit.
Okay.
She has somebody that needs one.
Also, I think Unchained is.
He's got a friend also who doesn't have an active Facebook account or way to get online.
You guys get their information to Rod, and he'll forward that to me.
Okay.
And
I got you.
Ask them what flavor you think they might want to try, or just if you want to surprise them, ask them what their favorite flavor is, and we can kind of figure out what to send them. I sent out 2 kits today, and I was grinning the whole time packaging them up, thinking this is going to be pretty cool for them.
Guys, you see my email address there? I just posted it.
Yeah.
Email me how much they smoked, what their preferred brand is, or what their, what kind of flavor they think they may need. But definitely need to know how much they smoke, so we can try to figure out what level of nick that they may need to get started off with.
And Amy, ask them if I could get you a free setup. Would you guys try it? Just ask them. If they say yes, get us their information. We'll get them out to them. We'll send them to you for you to hand them to them. There you go. This is about working outside of our community, you guys. Bring the smokers over. They're the ones, we need them over here so that they realize what we're fighting for. Also educate non-vapors on a routine basis. Whenever you get a chance, talk to non-vapors.
Sorry, Unchained. I don't look at most people's profile anymore. Yeah, for some of you that, because a lot of you in here tonight aren't in my local group, and I know Kevin isn't, so he hasn't seen it. I did a live feed in my local group.
You did?
Yeah. 510. You know, a lot of people were celebrating 510. And I was getting some messages and stuff about, oh, I don't know if you want to do that. You know, it's not really advocacy and this, that, and the other thing. So I decided I was going to do a live feed. I was in here working on the wife's washing machine. I had to go out to my workshop to get some tools. So I figured while I'm out there, and it was just like 5:05. I said, hell with it. I'm going to go ahead and do a live feed, and I'm going to celebrate 510. And I told everybody, I said, you know, here's the deal. This isn't meant for you to go outside 20, 30 deep, blowing clouds. It's a sign of you're showing your unity. Everybody's coming together for a reason. Find somebody that's not a smoker or that's not a vapor or whatever, and you know, let them know why you're doing it, what it's about, what it's done for you, this, that, and the other thing. And then, you know, I pretty much told everybody, I'm going to tell you some things that you may not like, and if you don't like it, tough shit.
Yep.
I mean, you've seen me on here. I'm kind of brutal. I don't give a rat's ass. You don't like what I got to say?
He's a grumpy vapor.
I'm a grumpy every fucking thing. Did you spit your beer out your nose?
No. Jacob's over there yawning, starting the yawn disease early.
Yeah, sorry. I woke up early today.
Well, I was going to tell you to get your phone and give us a tour of the house.
No,
No.
I don't think I'll be doing that.
No?
He probably ain't all unpacked yet.
Oh, I am. I finished unpacking everything on Monday. I have like
We're all visionaries anyways. We can imagine what it looks like without the boxes.
Wait a minute.
no, I have one box left and it's sitting on my kitchen counter.
Wait a minute. You're all unpacked, dude. I still got boxes in my shed from 10 years ago when I moved in here.
No, Rod's got boxes behind him from
You
10
also-
years ago.
Yeah,
also
but that's
have
all
a fucking
computer
hole in my-
shit. Them ain't moving boxes. Them are computer stuff.
How many viewers we got in?
Let's see.
We were up to 22 when Dimitri was on.
We have 18 still. So not terrible.
We're getting better. We're getting the message out.
Shut up, Slimer. This isn't your stupid ass show.
And you misspelled masturbate anyways.
Well, does that surprise you? It is Slimer.
Actually, Riz, if you look behind me on this this stand, that's all my good shit. That's all my vape stuff right there. I got my stand up top, my chargers on the second shelf, and all my product shit there on the second shelf as well.
You just upgraded all the way around, Jacob.
Huh?
You upgraded all the way around.
Unchained. Actually, if you are in the Grumpy Vapor group, I mean that's primarily what we're focusing on is advocacy and converting new smokers. I'm not sure. I know there's some others too, but that's not
You know,
sure.
they're pretty much any group. If you go into when you join and say, "Hey, I'm a new vapor," there will be an outpouring of support and help for you in a lot of groups. And if you have a local group, that's even better because people will bring you juice. They will probably either give you muds or sell them to you really cheap, you know, and that way it helps you afford to find what you like and what you don't without going through a progression that most people have to go through. Or if you have to, go to a reputable local shop and they will guide you in the right direction, which is probably your best bet if you don't have anybody local.
Yeah. Where are you At Unchained. She's in Kentucky.
What part of Kentucky? Because there's Tri-State Vapors. There is OKI Vape Group. Yeah, one of those two, you'll find plenty of people local to you in Kentucky out of either of those groups in Facebook. I can even link those if you want.
She's in Fort Knox.
No, that's Heather that's in Fort Knox.
Oh,
Pay attention.
sorry.
Keep up. Gee,
Sorry,
Merry Christmas.
sorry.
I saw when you posted about that, Riz. That is amazing. That's an awesome deal that you guys did that.
Somerset, Kentucky. Okay. Keep your shit wet, Rod.
No joke. Riz, now you're going to have to quit giving away all your wins. You're going to have to start taking all that juice you win and start keeping it to give to your vet guy there.
Speaking of wins and stuff, hey Kevin, did you send out Micah's shirt yet?
I did today.
Okay.
It said 3-day priority, so he'll probably get it Monday.
You being all lazy and stuff.
Yeah, that reminds me. I got to get hold of Trenton. I've got to get him Foxy's information so we can get some juice to her for.
Oh, sure.
Which reminds me, Unchained and Riz, make sure you send me your information also.
Yes, absolutely.
And what flavor and what level of Nick you guys are all about. Check out the Trippy Drip site if you're not familiar with it. Pick out a flavor and Nick level of juice you want, because you guys are going to get a 30 ml bottle also. And Riz, don't you give it away. You don't get no juice, Micah. Shut up.
There's the Trippy Drips website right there. So you can go on and look at what flavors you might like.
Yes, you, Riz.
Juice to fight? Huh?
I think he meant type. I don't know.
He can't type anyway.
He's probably drinking.
Well, duh. When ain't he? I mean, did you see how much booze he went through at Chicago at Vape Bash? I think he bought the damn place out that Friday night, Thursday night, whatever it was. Fuck, he about bottomed out my truck with all the liquor he bought.
Oh yeah, that's what he meant, Kevin. He meant juice as well, because he got juice, I think, too.
Yeah, I got your juice inside the shirt. Hope they don't break it, because if they do, it's going to soak your shirt.
That can be washed.
And I put a lanyard in there too, per your request. It was on the auction though. I think I forgot the vape band.
Who needs vape pans?
I'll send that when he orders juice.
Right, Heather. Just cut the shirt and wick it.
Yeah. So, Mindy and Riz, don't forget, when you send me the email, go to Trippy Drips, find a flavor and a Nick level, and make sure you put that in the email so I can make sure and get you guys out some juice also. Well, Trent can make sure to get you guys some juice out.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Hey guys, I'm going to put Sevia's website up for you.
Oh, absolutely.
I would like for you guys to ask your stores that carry hardware, which is pretty much all of them, to ask their vendors to get involved with this and be a part of this. They're making a lot of money selling to the U.S. They're part of this group. So ask them to join Sevia. I'm not going to say ban the companies that aren't in Sevia because there's a handful more trying to come in. But I think if you send them a message to the ones that are not involved and say, we want you involved, we need your help, they'll do it. And I think the consumers speak a lot louder than the industry people when it comes to the manufacturers. So I'm going to put that up there, and hopefully you guys can forward this link to the manufacturers, especially your favorite one. If they're not involved, do it.
Night, Keith.
Good night, Keith. Glad you stopped in, buddy. And Amy, I will check that email after the show, and we'll see what's going on there. No,
Dirk,
I think
it was Kanger and Joytech.
no.
Slash Wismac.
It's Kanger, it's Aspire, it's Innokin, Smoke, VTA is part of it, obviously, and Keller and Heckman are the ones representing us nationally against the FDA.
Oh, okay.
We got some heavy hitters in here, you guys. I'm going to give you the Facebook link as well, and I think I'll give you a better link for Sevia's website too.
Hey, Fairy Vape Mother. How's the old Furberry treating you?
There you go.
Well, Dirk's happy to see that. Good deal. Dirk is being instrumental right now in trying to get all of our Illinois vendors together to jump on board with VTA.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I talked to Tony today, and I unofficially was given the ability to recruit. But
Yeah, we saw you started working for VTA today.
Yes.
yeah, but I took that down because it has to go through the board of directors first. So I kind of jumped the gun, and I felt stupid. But I'm hoping that they say, yeah, it's fine. They are so busy right now. It's the least I could do for an organization that I stand 100% behind.
Right.
Well, so far I know we have 8. I know we have 8 vendors so far that have verbally said yes, they want to be part of it, and there's there's a lot more in my area that we're still working on, but we're hoping to have 20 so that the financial burden isn't so bad next year.
That's the key. Is the more that join, the easier it becomes.
Right.
I mean, this year it's not that bad. It's only $5,000, but next year when it goes up to 10, then it becomes a little bit rougher, and the more people we can get involved, the better off it is on everybody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know one of the vendors that's in our area is not. They want to do their part, but they also want to kind of sit back and relax and let everybody else do it, and that kind of pisses me off. I'm not going to name names, but
Well,
Rod, you know who I'm talking about, probably.
Yeah. Well, Kevin does too. He's in there now.
yeah. They have various reasons. Most of all, it's the money.
Right.
Like we talked about with Demetrius, it's not really about the money. It's about securing the future of this industry. We are the forefathers of the vaping industry right now. And everything we do sets the groundwork and the foundation for future generations that might be on tobacco to have this option.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't pull the heartstrings for something good to do in your life, then you're dead inside already, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Well, you know me. I'll be the first one. As a matter of fact, I just haven't made the post yet. in that particular group. I'm fixing to tell people, if you ain't willing to be on board with helping in one way, shape, or another, the fuck out and get out of my way.
I kind of said that today. Either you're with us or you're in our fucking way.
Yep.
You know, I've said it. I've posted it. People ought to know by now. If you ain't helping me, get the fuck out of my way, or I'm gonna run you the fuck over.
Spoken like a true grumpy vapor.
Well, I mean, it's fun. Well, hell, we've all been in the same location, so you know I'm a little short stump of a guy, but when I want to go somewhere, I'm gonna fucking get there. And if you're in my way, you're probably gonna get hurt.
Yeah, like at 11 p.m. at night, you were heading to sleep. If anybody got in your way, you were running them over.
No, that was midnight when I had to get freaking.
I knew he was going to say midnight.
It was midnight when I had to take TJ to the damn airport at 4 in the damn morning.
Well, and you still didn't even sleep that night until you got back.
Night, Heather.
Nope, I got to bed at 4 in the morning. And was still up before the rest of you fuckers.
Amy was talking to the graphic artist that we hired. I hired him and she hired him, and they were talking, and she was telling him what flavors she wanted to get rid of and what she wanted to do with the labels. And I was sitting there and I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, man, it's 3 o'clock. Where the hell's Sean at? And I just finally put my head down and I fell asleep. It was 3 or 4 in the morning. I was like, this is too much, man. And she's just going and going and going.
She's like, I think she drinks Monster Energy. She just mainlines Monsters.
Yeah.
Well, I was on her Safata call last night, Rod, and it ended up being a 3-hour call where probably 75% of the callers had dropped off the call after 2 hours. And we ended the conference call for the Indiana Safata group, and she ended up calling me and talked to me for another 4 hours.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I like Amy, but damn.
I think Dimitri might be the only person that can actually keep up with her like that.
Yeah, those two talk a lot, for sure.
Yeah, he's a fast talker, and he definitely he enunciates very well, though, and he gets his point across very well.
Yes,
That's just because he has a good microphone.
Well, that's true. I got this little fucker that's on my camera. That's all I got right now.
You know what? You look at Dimitri's, and he's a businessman. He owns many businesses, okay? And he goes and he does his stuff without waving a flag and saying, "Look at me, you guys, look at me." Shit, Sevilla hasn't even come to the surface till the last week, but it's been there for a long time.
At least officially 6 months now.
Yeah, but it was established 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was already in China, and he just made Sevilla USA and went over there. He took the time to fly over there and tell those guys, "We need you," and they and convinced them to agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucking hero right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been listening to his podcast, like he said, every Tuesday night. I've been listening to him for probably 2 years now.
Yeah, he's got a good radio voice personality.
Yeah.
And you know, I love the guy. He's, you know, I probably couldn't even wrap my arms around him, but I'd give him a hug if I saw him in person and tell him thank you. You know, those are the kind of guys that are doing it unselfishly for this industry. Those are the guys that are moving mountains for us.
Absolutely.
It was an honor to have him on tonight, and I'm glad he accepted.
So am I. I've talked to him a few times here and there through PM and, you know, on certain groups, but it's a whole lot different when you're actually talking to somebody like face to face.
Yeah.
On a webcam, you know.
Yeah.
It's a really cool experience, and he's a really good guy. He has a lot of knowledge too.
He's got a lot of knowledge, and he's not afraid to share it.
No. He's
not a gatekeeper at all. I mean, he'll tell you straight out, this is what we're doing. I proposed that last Friday, the day after the deeming regs came out. I proposed that going after the appropriations committee as a future tactic. And he said, I'm in England, call me next week. So I got a hold of him yesterday and I said, hey, I know you probably got sick of people saying I got a great idea, but what do you think about mine? And he says, well, VTA's already doing that tonight. So, great minds are on this thing, and that just shows me that they have thought really deeply about how they're going about this.
Right.
It took me a while to think about that strategy. It took me probably 4 or 5 hours to just keep cutting out all the fat on how we can, circumvent this or cut it off at the pass, if you will. And that's what I came up with. And that's one of their strategies. They've got 20 other strategies. So it's amazing to me. And I wish I could be in on those think tanks, because that's what I love, is critical thinking.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't have the mind for that much critical thinking, but I do what I can.
I love it. I really do.
I'll never be the first person to say I'm a smart guy. I'm not near as smart as a lot of other people.
I'm a dumbass. I just make juice. Have a good one, Serial Vapist.
See you later, Micah.
I don't claim to be smart, but I claim to be an asshole.
Yeah, that you are though. But you see, you're a cuddly asshole, so it's okay.
Oh boy.
I will admit to being an asshole, but I try to be an asshole for all the right reasons.
Right.
Most of the time. Sometimes I'm an asshole just to be an asshole.
Sometimes.
Although I did get told the other night I got the perfect face for radio.
Oh, you do? Absolutely. I think all three of us do.
Thank you, Riz. I'm glad it's apparent.
We haven't said the G word once tonight.
Which one?
Slimer.
What G word?
I don't know.
Get
Never
the fuck
mind.
out?
No.
Oh.
What, goddamn? What?
No. I swore it last.
Oh, hey now.
No. Slimer,
No,
Slimer said it earlier when he first came in.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, look, Nomio's back again.
You jackass.
I decided that if you play a joke too much, it starts to become offensive, and I wasn't going to do it anymore with Jacob.
That doesn't fucking offend me, man.
Okay, Nomio, whatever you say then.
There's not much. Hell, there's not much that offends me. My favorite word is cunt. Love it.
Hey, now.
I use it once a day at least.
That word came up for some reason when I was talking to my son. He didn't say it and I didn't say it, but the C word came up and I said, that's a word we don't use. That is like a very, very bad word. So.
Oh, fuck that. I'll use it. I try to use it once a day.
Unless you're in the UK, and then it's...
See, that's how I use it. I don't randomly go around calling people cunts. I mean, I don't use it offensively.
Yeah.
But it is my favorite word.
Just like over there, fag is actually what they call a cigarette.
A cigarette, yeah.
Or, and that's why I don't get how in the hell it transitioned to gay people.
Yeah, well, let's not go into that.
But that's not what this show is about, so we don't give a shit.
This show is about being grumpy and advocacy.
Exactly. And getting people to start vaping.
Yep. That's what we're here for. I wish more people would take advantage of our free kit offer.
Well, hell, what'd we get? At least three. I should have at least. Well, I should have at least 3 emails tonight.
I hope so.
Cause
I've sent out 3 kits, Rod. out of 50 that I was initially given, we have 1,500 of these kits to give out.
We're getting there because I know
1,500.
I should have an email from Amy, an email from Riz, and one from Unchained. I do believe this evening, so I'll have some stuff to look over tonight, and I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
By the way, Dirk, if you're still in here, I did look at your emails tonight. Um, Other than whatever grammatical errors that you made, I didn't see anything wrong with it. Your vendor list looked good. I am going to see if I can find some more to add to it for you. Other than that, I mean, there's a couple people in there in that list that I would like to say fuck off, but I won't, and I'm sure he knows who they are.
Yeah.
Well, one of them's in that our Illinois vape vendors group, and one of them isn't. But
Oh, okay.
again, it's not time for that. It's time to pull together and get the shit working.
Ignore the distracting ones and keep focused on the ones that are positive and doing things to bring unity.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of feeding into it, and I really disrupted some things going on, and I apologize for that. But man, I'm an advocate all the way to the core, and I don't tolerate it well. But I made a mistake, so
Oh
yes,
no.
I do.
Yeah, if you could post that in that group, Kevin, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Riz, tonight, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. As long as I get that from you, I will pass the information on to Kevin. And like I said, I better get in that email your information also, or I will hold your kit ransom until I do. How's that shit?
And that's exactly what you said. You reached out to Tony, but he's busy. And I told him today, I said, you know what, I want to get some more people with BTA. So, well, and that's really the basis of it. So thanks for forgiving me. But that and about 9 beers didn't really help.
And what's bad is I meant to watch that show, so maybe I could have helped out a little bit, but I can't remember what happened. I wasn't able to watch that night.
You probably would have egged me on, Rod.
It's hard to say since I didn't watch it, but I'm at least then Amy would have known who it was coming from, and it might
We
not
weren't
have.
supposed to say where it was at. Yeah, it didn't turn out all that great. Cooler heads prevail, as they say.
Yeah.
So, and in the long run, we'll know who's in it to win it and who's in it to draw attention to themselves.
Right. Well then, Riz, I guess since you're all out of piffable devices, I will get your information in that email too, won't I? Because this ain't one of them shows where you have jail time every 30 days. Because I don't do giveaways. So if you bring people in here or find people that need starter kits, you're going to get juice from Trippy Drips.
Yes, you will. And if Trent doesn't get it packaged, I'll package it up my damn self. I don't care.
You guys, I have also, I have a shit ton of juice here that either I'm going to have to throw out or give away, and I'd really much rather give it away.
Why would you have to throw it out?
Because it's my old co-packing bottles with the old labels. the dates are not right on them, but they're just under a year old, and I think they've been stored properly, and they're all 15 mils, and I've got 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Times 25 times 3. Oh, I'd say probably 1,000 units I need to get out the door.
Well, I tell you what, Kevin. Next week, if you want to, we can start doing a few giveaways here and there. I mean, that's totally up to you. I know you started sponsoring a couple of shows now here, didn't you? On the network?
I've got 1 on this network, and I've got 3 on Vapors TV.
So, I mean,
and I offer all them the starter kits too. So there's 4 different channels that can take advantage of the starter kits. Oh, and J-Rock, I've got 3 more sets of juice, all high end. I want you to test out, including Trippy Drips, which I found to be a pretty damn solid line of vape. J-Rock is my official tester.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I hope he likes it.
So everybody, just send the juice you want me to carry to J-Rock.
I will tell you here, in the next week or two, we're going to have an evening more geared towards fun. Where there will be our normal grumpy ass advocacy stuff, but and this might be somebody you're interested in talking to, Kevin. We're going to have Dan, the owner of Lion's Den Elixirs, on the show. He's a fun dude. He's cool as hell. He's in New Jersey, but he's from the Bronx. So, he's got that whole Bronx attitude. Just a super good guy. And he makes a really good line of juice. No, you're not, dickhead. Shut up, Slimer. He was already on your guys' show, but he likes me better.
I actually think now, with all the regulations and bullshit going on, I think it would be a good time to have Bogey on, because me and him know exactly what vaping will go to if it comes to it.
Oh, I planned on it. I still do plan on having Bogey on.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, me and Bogey have been around so long. Vaping, if all this shit, worst case scenario, goes to what the FDA wants it to.
It's not going to.
Worst case scenario.
It's not going to.
But I'm not even hoping it will. I'm just saying worst case scenario.
We're not even going to talk about it, Jake.
That's right. Because if it comes down to it, it'll be up to us 3 to make sure it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's up to everybody to make sure it doesn't. And you guys, I got hammered for saying there is no way to comply.
No,
Fight
there isn't.
the regs. You guys have seen it. You guys have done it too. There's no way to comply, and I've had people argue with me about how it's doable.
It's not.
It's not doable.
No.
Even Dimitri's agreed with us. He said it's not doable. He said it himself. It's not doable. Our only choice is to fight it.
Yeah, would he say there's one actual company?
There's one product.
Well, that product doesn't equate to vaping today, so it's irrelevant.
Right. No. But I'm saying there's one company that actually has passed FDA regs, and that was before.
Out of all time. It was a snooze, wasn't it? It was like
snooze.
It was snooze.
And they had to do 2 PMTAs. From what I understand, it took
115,000 pages.
It took 8 fucking years.
Yep.
Yeah.
That means we'll be blacklist. It'll be blacked out for 5 or 6 years before you can get your product to market. I don't know about you guys, but this shop don't run on fucking sitting idle for 5 or 6 years.
Oh no, absolutely not.
So
yeah, how you gonna pay rent and whatnot on a shop that's not making any money?
I'm going to
Yep.
be delivering pizzas long before that happens.
So, yeah. But no matter what, at least I'm gonna speak for all three of us, just cause. No matter what happens, 88 days from now, we're still going to be here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we're still going to be getting people off cigarettes.
Shit, I'm still gonna be making mods. Fuck them.
Well, you know, there's gonna be a black market. Barry Vape Mother, I don't know that I know you, but I'm gathering that you make juice and you help people get converted, and hell yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, Amy, there does need to be regulation. There really does. But it's
Absolutely.
not the way they're talking about. Yes, there needs to be quality control in the way liquid is manufactured. There needs to be regulation on the types of flavoring used, the levels, making sure everything is done properly in a uniform manner.
Making sure the nicotine content is actually what it says.
Yes. Um, but other than that, they need to pretty much leave us the fuck alone.
But they won't, Rod.
No,
No,
I know
absolutely
they
not.
they won't.
They'll never leave us alone. It's all about the money.
You know, I think there's a lot. The majority of the juice makers out there do a good job going above and beyond what is actually necessary for making vape juice. This whole place was designed and custom made to make juice in a clean environment.
Mm.
Do we need an ISO 5, 6, or 7? Probably not. But it does help provide a standard to places like the FDA saying, look, we're doing this on our own.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got to at least give us credit for that. We're making a quality product that we're trying to keep on the market because it's harm reduction. So
yeah,
I'm tired, you guys. I'm beat. This week and last week has been nothing but dissemination of the FDA regs to thousands of people, and I almost feel like next time something like this happens, I'm just going to type out bullet points from the actual regs and post the shit and be done with it. Because
yeah, I agree. And Fairy Vape Mother, you're absolutely correct. Bottling standards, again, stuff that we're really already doing.
Oh, the advocacy panel at Vape Bash talked about bottling standards. They talked about actually making sure that your bottles go through the two-step process. It opened by, or what is it? Opened by a little kid, or closed by a little, no, opened by a little kid, closed by an adult, and then retried to open by a little kid.
yeah.
And,
Most
if
of
they're
them,
not certified in that, don't use their bottles.
right.
Check to make sure they're certified.
That nationwide on July 25th is a law.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to comply with that. It doesn't matter if your supplier says I've got it, you have to have it. If you use those bottles, you have to have it on hand to show somebody from the health department or somebody from the FDA at this point in time. I know companies that do a bottle sterilization process. They disassemble the droppers. It's a touchless system, and it all goes through a bleach solution bath before being used. I mean, they go to great lengths to make sure that this is, as clean as possible.
Yeah,
So,
I think we're all getting to the point where we're just exhausted. Um, Unfortunately, it's time to get that second wind and go for that 12th round.
Yeah. It's been past time for that.
Yeah.
That's the shitty part.
Get other people involved, you guys. Get everybody to unify. I mean, it's the very important point I took away from what Dimitri said was you've got to get your state involved. If you know a state that's not involved, send them to me. Send them to Rod. Get them attached to an association. We can only do so much as individuals, but as a group, we can move mountains. We can make this happen. And we've got to start getting more people on board because this lawsuit and all these challenges we're going to be going to federal with, it's going to cost money. There makes no bones about it. It's going to cost a lot of fucking money. And we can't do it with the percentage we have right now. 30 states in SFATA. I think we got 18 in VTA, and we've got 200,000 members in CASA. That ain't going to cut it, you guys. No. Not everybody's as organized as Georgia was. When the devil went down to Georgia, they were waiting for him.
Yep. I mean, I can say here in Illinois,
we're getting there.
Well, and the one time that we had a major hurdle to overcome, we were there.
Yeah.
And amazingly, we pulled it out of our asses at the drop of a hat because they kept changing the date on us.
Hey, I actually just saw today that Senate Bill 3011 got shut down. It could still be pulled back up, but it got shut down.
I saw that.
Vicky posted that.
Yes.
Yeah. She is a major player for Illinois. You guys ought to be helping her as much as you can.
Yeah.
She pays for 75% of the activism there out of her own pocket.
She's Signot, right?
She is Signot.
Yeah.
She's
SFATA.
She's family to me, and she is SFATA in Illinois.
Yeah.
She literally is SFATA by herself. And she's also VTA. That woman is fucking awesome.
Yes, she is. And she uses fuck like a comma.
She does.
Goddamn right she does.
She does. She's a little fireball.
She would do anything for any one of you. Keep that in mind. There's not a lot of people out there like that. No. Not like her. They broke the mold when they made Vicky. And she, get her the help she deserves, you guys.
She's doing an amazing job up in Chicago.
Yep.
I think I need to get with her and get some tutoring from her so I can get the same type of thing down in my part of the state.
All you got to do is ask her. She'll come down, or she'll give you all the information you need, Rod. VTA's in that state too. You guys, Chicago, once Dickhead's out of office, you guys are going to have a much better path to vaping freedom, I think.
Well, if we could get rid of Dick Durbin, that would be a big help.
Dick Durbin's a career politician. He's very established financially. He ain't going nowhere till he has a heart attack or dies.
Yeah.
Or unless somebody votes his ass out.
I don't know why they keep voting him in.
I don't either. I've never liked that piece of shit. But
I just found a list of anti-vaping politicians. Is there any truth to this?
Yes, there is, and I think that was compiled by a guy that's in our tweet troll time group. And if you guys aren't in that group, we're making some things happen in there too. AJ Mole, you ever heard of him?
Yeah, he's in. I think he's in my group.
AJ Moles, he's pretty badass on Twitter, man. We've got a Twitter army. When these politicians make a statement about vaping and it's inaccurate, we just hammer them.
Right.
And we crush Twitter accounts daily on there. I haven't been involved with it the last week and a half because of what's happened, but last week or so. But check it out, tweet troll time.
It's on Twitter.
If you want to have fun and advocate at the same time, that's the place where you can have both. It's a lot of fun.
Wait a minute, Unchained, which analogy was that? Oh, she's talking about using the fuck like a comma, I think.
Yeah. And another thing that I took away was the unity of if you don't have an issue in your state, help gather funds and support for the states that are having a hard time. That goes a long way for them paying it forward next time. Well, we're all in this together, you guys. I'm not going to keep hammering home the point. You guys get it.
Yep.
No, that's the thing. We need to keep hammering home the point.
Well, everybody here knows it. Get more people to understand. Get people outside of vaping to understand. That's the best way we can grow this.
Yeah. And if you go to a local shop and they don't have any information out about CASA, SAFADA, VTA, any of the advocacy groups, ask them why.
Yeah.
Give them links or tell them where to go. Facebook, the We Are CASA group, VTA has a page, SAFADA has a page. All of them have Facebook pages with links to their website pages. Tell them where to go so they can get the information out. And if they don't, fuck them. Don't shop there.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you what, I work in a shop part-time. I work there one damn day a week. And last weekend, I think was the first time I'd been back to work in a couple weeks because of different things I had going on and wasn't able to work. And we were passing out, the papers for CASA and all the other stuff. And I was floored at how many people shouldn't say have, because now they do, had no idea about the FDA regulations and what it meant to them.
Yeah. When the shit hit the fan last week, we started telling everybody that came in the shop what was going on, that they might not be vaping in 2 years. And I had at least 20 people fired up in the first day.
My 12-year-old son knows more about what's going on than most people outside of Facebook do as far as vaping.
If you are in here watching the show, whether you're in the chat room or if you're just watching this show, if you have a shop and you are able to put a tablet right next to the damn register and have it pulled up to the CASA call to action page, people will sign it right then and there. Just say, hey, do me a favor, fill this out. Yeah, like Kritzer 1. Beat them to death until they use their tablets to sign it. Doop. But I had people, last weekend I had people on their own phones. They were hitting the website on their phones before they even left the shop. They're like, that's bullshit. And it really hits home when you tell a customer, hey, do you build? No, I have you guys build my coils for me. Well, guess what? In 90 days, I'm not going to be able to build those coils for you. You're not going to be able to touch any of this technology behind the counter here. You're going to be able to go, hey, I want that, and then I'm going to be able to take it out, set it on the counter, and sell it to you. Other than that, you're not going to get to touch it. You don't get to know, yes, this feels good in the hand. So you better.
The 90 days also, that has to do with the free, testing in the shop as well, right?
Right.
But if it's 0, they can still test?
From what I understand, yes. Is that correct, Kevin? They'll still be able to do taste tests as long as it's 0 nic.
Well, the law is written to be adapted to destroy any methods we come up with new. So whether it's 0 nic or not is, I wouldn't get too involved with the intricacies of the regulation. What I would get involved with is killing that fucking regulation and doing it now. We've got 88 days left, you guys. going over the nuances of what's going to work in a shop and what isn't. All I know is you cannot leave a shop with any free juice, not a drop in your tank,
Right.
not a dribble on your cotton, and especially not a bottle of free juice.
All right.
So, yeah, you can sample zero, you can sample nicotine, as far as I know. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm tired of shit. But I don't even think selling it for 50 cents or a penny is going to work, because they're going to tax the shit out of it anyways. And at minimum, you're going to have to account for your inventory and charge them the tax. Yeah, Denver's workaround was a penny, but they admitted they weren't going to enforce it, Jay. They weren't going to enforce it at all. This is a whole new level of, they're planning on having health departments enforce this law, and if you don't abide by them, then they'll upgrade it to an ATF issue or a sheriff's issue. We don't have police here. We have sheriffs.
Yeah.
And they're quite a bit more reasonable than the police in Denver, but.
Yeah, well, we have sheriffs also, but.
So, in any event, I think we need to not worry about what's in the regulations and start looking at solutions to kill those regulations. That's the only way we survive. And I will keep screaming it from the mountaintops here in Colorado, and hope that people hear it from here to Oklahoma if I have to yell that loud.
Well, I'm going to continue to keep sharing from your page, no matter how tired you are, Kevin.
So.
All right, guys, we are almost 25 minutes over, like usual.
So right on schedule then.
Yep.
So I think we had a really good show tonight. I'm amazed to have Dimitri on the show. It was a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't really get to say much, but that's okay.
That's just Dimitri.
He did that with what, 4 hours of sleep ahead of him, 3 hours?
Yep. He was kind enough to take the time out of his day to do that.
And I told him we just needed 5 minutes, and he stayed on for 55 minutes.
Yeah. Me too, Tracy. Of course, I didn't tell anybody to fuck off either tonight, so maybe that might have something to do with it.
We got to make sure you get that in every show, so we don't want that building up to an explosion in 3 weeks.
Well, the night that it's just really weird, because the night that I got somehow locked out of the website for, was it 30 minutes or so, I'd actually literally said, either help or you're part of the problem and get the fuck out of the way. And next thing I know, I couldn't get onto the server and I couldn't log into the website.
Yeah.
Right.
But I still think it was a server, but Tracy saved us that night.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And I'm glad to have other hosts like that are able to, because, Slimer's ass wasn't nowhere around, and he's supposed to be another producer.
Well, he couldn't even get his mic working the other night, so.
Yeah, then there's that. So Tracy was awesome that night. It did fuck up the show as far as how we had it going as recording, but hey, shit happens.
By the way, did you record this?
Oh, you damn right I did.
Okay.
I'm still recording this. So
good to hear.
Yes, this one, tomorrow I will be putting this one up on the YouTube channel for those of you that came in late and may have missed some of what Dimitri was saying. So look for it there. So anybody got any closing thoughts before we close this out?
Fuck the FDA.
No.
Those are my closing thoughts. Fuck the FDA. Do not comply.
That one I like.
Do not comply. Like I said in my little stupid post, I said when the FDA lies, small business dies. And that's about the sum of it, you guys.
Exactly. Like everybody said, do not comply. The other part you can say in private, just keep it out of the public eye.
This is technically private.
No, it's not. It's going up on YouTube. You Riri.
Oh, just bleep me out then. Learn how to edit. Learn how
No,
to edit shit.
We go unedited, man.
that's right.
That's how
I
we
don't
roll.
edit shit. I just throw it up. Um, so yeah, it's Thursday night. Tomorrow you got Amy and Amber again. Don't forget. Saturday. Who's on Saturday? Oh yeah, One Vaping Trucker and Friends. Then you got Busting Your Balls. And Mark and Tracy will be on after that, more than likely.
Yep.
Tracy, are you guys on tomorrow night after Amy and Amber? And then Sunday, yeah, tomorrow night also. Sunday you got
Blumpkin King.
well, no, you got Slimer and Chupa.
Yeah, the Blumpkin King, Slimer.
Well,
He's the Blumpkin King?
Yeah.
Slimer is?
and who else is on there? Lindsay. Lindsay is on there. Then we go back to Monday and Wednesday. You got Amy and Amber again. Tuesday you got fucking Slimer and Jeff. You know, which we really like to see Jeff because he's just a riot most of the time, and you never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
Absolutely.
And then of course, you know, Thursdays you get stuck with us,
These grumpy fucks right here.
the guys that all have the perfect faces for radio. So, you guys have a great evening.
Remember, do not comply.
And what Unchained said, fuck them assholes.
Yep.
And this is true, Tracy. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth when he's on, especially if I'm watching. And you never know. Sometimes I end up on his show too. So,
Fairy Vape Mother, I like that. That's our new catchphrase. Stay grumpy.
So, all right, guys. You have a good evening. We'll see you next week. Thanks, DJ.
Later.
We're on it.
Thanks, everybody.
Night.
Night, guys.